Hey everybody, welcome back to the Death Metal Dungeon. I am Nate, your dungeon master, here to help you torment your ears with the best in death metal and kind of related subgenres. And today's my third video. Today it's a Saturday. I felt like introducing something a little new. I'm calling Death on Wax. That's something I may kind of come back to. Just like in the last one, I did something old, something new. Just wanted to show off some death metal that I really like that I have on vinyl. And so today we're going to take a look at two records, beginning with Embalmed in Decay by Germany's Carnal Tomb. See if I can bring it back enough so you can see the whole cover. Actually, really killer artwork on the cover there. And the back. So again, this is Embalmed in Decay by Carnal Tomb. This album was released in 2023 on Testimony Records. This is Carnal Tomb's third full-length album. They've also released several EPs and splits, and also have a compilation that has some of their early demo and material they had contributed to other compilations all on one compilation. But this is their third full length, their most recent one, again from 2023 on Testament Records. Carnal Tomb has been around since 2014. They are from Berlin in Germany. This is grimy, nasty, super heavy, old school death metal. As the name Carnal Tomb might suggest, there is a heavy Dismember influence. A lot of you probably know that is the name of a Dismember track. Excellent song. But these guys do not come off at all like a Dismember clone or even as Dismember worship. The influence is definitely there. They do use HM2 distortion for their overdrive sound. But what I really like about these guys is that they don't just like rely overly heavily on the HM2 being kind of the defining characteristic of their sound. A lot of you probably know there's no shortage of HM2 bands out there. I love that, buzzsaw, chainsaw guitar tone as much as anybody else. But it does kind of sometimes feel a little bit like HM2 by numbers, right? Like, just play through an HM2 pedal with all the dials all the way up. Rehash some Swedish death metal riffs from the early 90s, and you got yourself, an HM2 death metal band. These guys don't come across that way at all. There's really a fairly unique overall approach on their sound. Again, you can hear that Dismember influence there. You can hear early Entombed. You can hear Grave. There's a lot of Autopsy influence on here, I would say. They play just a little bit loose, right? It's just not overly tight. Doesn't sound like they're playing to a click track. They're not sloppy by any means, but you have a little bit of that nice like Autopsy looseness, if you know what I mean by that. Who else? You can hear a little bit of like early Cannibal Corpse, a little bit of that just really foul, wretched, super heavy death metal sound. For guitars, there's a lot of there's two guitars. They're a four-piece. One of the guitarists also does vocals. The guitars, it's a great mix of really memorable riffs, really kind of grinding, again, that kind of buzzsaw sound with some nice like eerie melodies that they have throughout. Mostly not tremolo picked melodies like you might think with, say, Dismember. These melodies are actually just played out, kind of like melodic, kind of scale based melodies that sound really eerie. Give it kind of almost like a 50s and 60s hammer horror kind of vibe. If that, you can almost just kind of imagine some of those old hammer horror movies with some of the riffs and the melodies that they play. The bass work on here is excellent and really sort of a standout element in my opinion. He's playing on a 5-string bass, lots of movement up and down the neck, lots of nice like little groove and little fills that he's doing that add a lot to the twin guitar work without just repeating it on bass, which is really cool. The drumming, the best way I can kind of sum up the drumming, to me, this sounds like what I would imagine if Bill Ward were a death metal drummer. Plenty of double bass, blast beats kind of used throughout, but not overly relied on. You get him enough to really kind of spice things up. But his snare drum has just a little bit of a like a loose kind of sound to it. Like again, I think of Bill Ward. His cymbal work has a little bit of that jazziness that Bill Ward was known for. So that's kind of what comes to my mind. Vocally, maybe along the lines of like Chris Barnes on The Bleeding, kind of growly, gurgly vocals. Overall, again, really good. Highly recommended if you're into Autopsy, Grave, Dismember, Early Entombed, etc. And again, they really kind of put their own unique spin on it. So let's show you the record and inserts here real quick. First, we'll just take a quick peek at the sheet. So you've got your lyrics. That excellent artwork, by the way, is by Skadvaldur. That's who has credits in there. So you get your lyrics on one side with some extra art in the back, which is cool. You got a picture of the fellas there, looking grim and deathly. Their leather jackets and their t-shirts in front of an old Gothic cathedral. Classic. And then this is, as many of you would say it should be, just on black wax. So good stuff. Again, if you like any of those aforementioned bands, if you're an HM2 aficionado, but you want something that kind of stands out and is a little different, just stands out from the pack quite a bit, I would highly recommend checking out Carnal Tomb. All right, our second and final for Death on Wax today, we are looking at Spewing Mephitic Putridity by England's Cryptworm. And I just love this cover art as well. I love the color scheme. I love how nasty and gnarly it is. This artwork pretty much lets you know what you're in for when you listen to Cryptworm. It is what my buddy Mark G with a C would call filthy, dirty, and horrible death metal. Just as nasty as you could possibly get it. You can see some of the song tracks there to give you an idea, what you're getting into. Right? So really good stuff. This album is their first full length that came out in 2022 in Misako Un Oho. I think I'm saying that right. Record label. Again, it's their first one they've released in 2023. They had a follow-up, Oozing Radioactive Vomission, which is also really good. I might like this one just a little bit better, but they're pretty neck and neck. They're both excellent. And then forthcoming in March of 2026, they'll be releasing their third full-length called Infectious Pathological Waste, also on MSUO Records. So Cryptworm have also been around since 2014. Like Carnal Tomb, they are from Bristol in the UK. Again, it's filthy, dirty, and horrible. Just imagine the nastiest, gnarliest, most foul death metal you can think of, and you got an idea. There's, again, a little bit of a unique take for these guys. Imagine if you had like Autopsy, Undergang, Coffins, but then, and maybe like early Carcass, as the lyrics kind of, or song titles kind of suggest, there's that nasty, a little bit of a gore grindy sound. But then imagine throwing Demilich into the mix with just some kind of twisting, churning, really strange riffs. They're not as technical as Demilich. The time signatures aren't as out there. Most of it is like 3/4 or 4/4 time signature, some triplet work, especially in the blasting passages. But yeah, it's just got that really strange kind of Bad Dream sounding, churning, twisting riffage mixed with some nice groove. They tune really low. I'm thinking maybe like A standard. I'm not sure. My ear's not that good, but that would be my guess. So nice and low tuned. Some nice groove thrown in there. Again, kind of those strange twisting, turning riffs that might make you think a little bit of Demilich. The drumming is really raw and pummeling. The snare is tight but not pingy. I can't hear any double bass to speak of in this record or the follow-up that came out the next year. I haven't yet listened to the advanced tracks for the one that's coming out in March of 2026. But again, no double bass drumming, which gives it almost a little bit of a raw, like punk or like fastcore kind of sound a little bit. Again, the music is solidly death metal, but the drumming makes me think of that a little bit. A lot of like grindcore type drumming, tons of blast beats used throughout. But there's a lot of nice groove in the drumming as well that complements the riffing really nicely. Vocals are super low gutturals, kind of vomitous vocals, as again you might expect from just such nasty looking and sounding art. So these guys I would highly recommend if you're into Stenched from Mexico. If you know Stenched, an awesome one-man project from Mexico. Again, I mentioned Coffins, early Carcass. I'd say if you like Cerebral Rot, you'd probably really like this. It's not quite as death doom as a lot of those other bands are. There are doomy passages, but again, there's tons of blasting, tons of mid-paced groove in here as well. So some nice variety. So highly recommended. We'll show you here. We got some nice gatefold going on. They did change their logo after this album. I personally like this logo better. The album that came out after this, they use a different logo, but I love this pretty much illegible. Just, it looks like it just got splattered against the cardboard here. But you got the gatefold, you get your lyrics in there. And then the record itself is, again, as a lot of you prefer it, on nice black wax. This is nice 180 gram solid vinyl too. Misako Uno always does a really good job. No other insert to speak of. Again, you got your lyrics and a little bit of some credits in the center of the gatefold. So that's it for today. Two Death on Wax records that came out in the last, 4 years, 2022 and 2023. Highly recommend checking out both. Pretty sure you can still get both through the band's Bandcamps or by looking on Discogs or wherever your favorite distro is. My guess would be Ben over at Iron Fortress probably has them, though I haven't checked to verify that. So again, check them out. Hope you've enjoyed the video today. And till next time, keep it metal.